Hello, I'm Scott Ryan. Thank you for joining me. It's been a very intense primary election season for the GOP, and I've made a lot of videos the last few weeks, and if I come across as overly intense, if I seem like I'm often angry, it's because I am. I mean, I've been writing blogs and doing videos for years, but I find that this time it's different. I am more worked up, I am more agitated than I am by the most abominable behavior by liberals, which never stops. But they are what they are. They are who they are. They don't make any pretenses. And that's why I get more angry. During the primary season, yet another one, where our party is being hijacked by a liberal minority. And I have a lot less respect for people who masquerade like wolves in sheep's clothing. People who pretend to be conservatives. I have more respect for people who actually admit what they are and they don't try to deceive. At least we know where they stand and we can argue about policies and worldviews. So I just got back from the office this evening, and I hear them talking on the round table on Fox News that Rick Santorum suddenly is getting shafted again in yet another primary. I remember during the Obama elections, there was something spiritual, it was palpable, the evil, something in the air that was far beyond anything that the physical realm could explain. The blinders over the people, the hysteria over the nation, the liberals and those who were ambivalent, were just swept up in this. I mean, it was so obvious. I mean, if you look at the raven lunatic that was Obama's pastor for 20 years, just looking at the videos, the majority of Americans would normally and should have rejected this man just based on the fact that he sat in that church. That should have been enough. That should have been a career ender. All the things, his background, his ties to American terrorists, communists, his whole life is dubious. There were so many red flags, yet nobody could see the truth. And now, what I see in the Republican Party is the same thing. This thing with Mitt Romney. And it really bothers me. In Michigan, now they're saying suddenly Mitt Romney has 2 extra delegates, they've decided. And yet nobody understands why or how. I mean, you would think that there are clear-cut rules. But according to what I'm hearing on Fox News, to my surprise, is that suddenly they just had a meeting and they decided, well, we're going to give Mitt Romney 2 extra delegates. It's unbelievable. And there's something going on here. Forces at work that are not good. And it started, first of all, in Iowa. The very first election, Rick Santorum wins Iowa. It takes 3 weeks for them to get this thing together. One little precinct. Whatever was missing. I don't know if it's ever been clarified what the real problem was in Iowa. Suddenly it's declared one night before the next primary in South Carolina that Rick Santorum was the actual winner in Iowa. Now normally, the way this works, and everybody knows it, that there is a boost, there is a bump in the polls for someone who wins that initial election or caucus. And they also not only have momentum, but they also tend to get more donations. Rick Santorum was robbed of that. And 3 weeks went by, and not only was he denied that, but Mitt Romney was given 3 weeks by the press, round the clock, especially Fox News, telling us ad nauseum how inevitable Mitt Romney's nomination was because he was the first person ever to win those initial primary contests in the Republican Party. This is fraud. And then we have Maine. As far as I know, I don't think we know who the hell won Maine yet. But again, another close race where this time Ron Paul may have won Maine, or so they said. It was a close race between Mitt Romney and Ron Paul. Yet, conveniently, there's another problem, which nobody knows what's going on, but that election wasn't called as far as I know. Something dubious. And now Michigan, a key state, Mitt Romney's state. According to the rules last I heard until this evening, it was a tie. We have a declaration by the GOP now that suddenly it's not a split between the delegates. I don't know what principle they applied here, what rules there are. They didn't cite any as far as I can tell. Yet we have another one given to Romney. So we've got 3 elections at critical times, very important, and they're close, but they always seem to benefit Mitt Romney. There is something spiritual at work here. It is palpable, just as it was back in 2008 when Obama took the White House. It is appalling. I don't know. I mean, obviously Mitt Romney has the organization, and not only that, he's got other major organizations behind him that we don't know in the shadows. I'm sure the Mormon LDS Church would have some sort of interest in having one of their members be the first president of the United States. When I look at all the things going on in the media and some of the despicable tactics used by Matt Drudge, again, to tear down, to distort, to deceive millions of people, and his connection to Romney. It was the same thing he did to Huckabee back in 2008. I gotta wonder what is going on behind the scenes. And I'll tell you what, I don't believe it's good. And I don't believe necessarily that it's legal. But one thing I do know is that it is evil. I just cannot believe that it's mere irony. Irony only happens when the results are unintended. And I cannot believe that it's mere irony that the GOP is in this state of, or at least between 33 to 40% at best, are in this state of euphoria where they cannot see or process logically a basic track record, glaring evidence that this guy is duplicitous, he is unreliable, he is passionate, no matter what side of the issue he is on at any given month or year. They're unable to process all this, and it cannot be irony. There is more going on here. We are on the verge of trying to take a false prophet out of the White House in 2012 by nominating our own. There's something spiritual beyond anything that we can see with our eyes in the physical world. It's spiritual just like it was in 2008. This is a make or break time for America. And it is going to be decided very soon what our fate shall be. God help us. Pray hard. Because right now we are on a highway that leads straight to hell. Thank you for joining me. I'm Scott Ryan.